Addiction is a non-discriminatory disease that affects people from all walks of life. And today we shall be looking at avoiding addiction. This is today's live on Equa Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada. I have Prudence Burga and Samuel Solomon. Good morning.
Good morning, Joyce.
You look calm and like, is it the weather or?
You know, the weather, I think it's the weather. You know, has a way of humbling.
Especially just weather.
I'm telling you.
Well, we're so blessed in this part of the world, and like we have, I can say, the best weather. And for some people, they'll say, no, I can't stay indoors, especially when it's, the Harmattan approaches. And some people ask you, by January or by February, will the weather be like be cold and all of that? But I usually tell people that just weather is unpredictable. Like by just when you think that, oh, it's hot, the next morning the weather will just change. And so, thank God, it's all the doings of God, and well, we are grateful. And it's important that people just protect themselves out there, like wear clothes that are warm as you go out. Ensure you can use your nose masks as well. I think it's so important just to avoid being caught up with the weather. Like, we're going to be talking about addiction, and from the beginning I said it's a non-discriminatory disease. That means it doesn't choose who. It's not just restricted to children. It's not restricted to the old. It's not just restricted to people from Nigeria, and then people from US cannot be. So addiction in general, we're going to be looking at that, even though we'll be focusing more on drugs and alcohol. Let's talk about addiction. So for a parent that is in a society where it looks like, oh, it's the new norm for people to just get addicted to anything, or where you keep hearing people say, oh, it's my life, and all of that. How can you avoid, like, as a parent for your child now, how can you avoid addiction? And as a young person, like growing up in a society too, where addiction is just the order of the day. You see old, you see children, you see all manner of people being addicted to one thing or the other. How would you avoid that? Let's talk about addiction.
Okay, you say we are narrowing it to alcohol and.
We are talking about addiction in general, but I said maybe most of the focus, yes, would be that.
Yeah, well, is number one, you have to know exactly what addiction is. Addiction is when someone is not able to control a particular substance that is taken. It's either it's being deliberate because you know this is how the substance work, or a prescribed drug, then you are taking it outside like the prescription of the physician. That becomes an abuse. So number one, you have to know the detriment, the end result. If you know the end result, it is easier for you to start as parent, for you to start guiding, you know, your children. By doing that, you will now begin to explain to them certain things about that particular thing. That is why you find in some area, like in my area, there is a place they tag jungle. So in that jungle, you know, is all kind of substance that they take there, alcohol, name them, you know. And then you find people, teenagers, some are just. I don't know, like you will find every cadre, you know, age bracket, you know, people are just there. And then you start asking yourself, how do they get there? You know, some is peer pressure. Some even started from the family, you know, low self-esteem. The same parent will make you feel like nothing will amount from you, like you will not become anything, and you just feel, okay, if that's the case, let me just help them. So far they said it, let me help them. not forgetting they are just channel that God used to bring you to fulfill your own purpose. But there's a responsibility with the parent to guide you aright. Once parent miss that, definitely you know that you're going to be accountable for that before the person start, owning his life. That's when he becomes responsible to anything he does. But from the moment that you are being given that child, your responsibility is to guide him and to guide him right. So it starts from that state. And then parents have to tell people, the parents have to tell their children, the consequence of doing that. Because you tell them, you give them example, you show them what is happening around, and then you tell them, if you go this way, if you go this path, this is what the end result look like. So for that, you have already, I would say, vindicated yourself in case the child goes the other way, because you have guide him, you told him what exactly you should know. So from there, I think parents need to really educate the children, tell them the right thing to do, and then at the end you allow them, to continue from where you stop, and then you pray for them, you teach them the word of God if you are a Christian. But even if you are not a Christian, there's one thing we know about moral. There's one thing about righteousness. You don't have to be a Christian to be righteous. Righteous is knowing the right thing and do it. Doing the right thing in the society. And you know that if you do this, it will lead to something that is bad, that will even corrupt the society, will make the society not habitable for some people. I don't think that is right. So you find people that are living decent, they are morals, they have high values, that is not contrary to even the law of the land, and they are not Christians. So that they have also responsibility even to teach their children of how to do the right thing and how to go about it. And if you are a Christian, you know the ultimate is the Bible, because Jesus has set the standard.
Okay. I was almost confused when he said, there are righteous people that are not Christians. But let's not go into theology. It's today's life. Let's talk. Maybe when we get to theologically speaking, we'll talk more on that. Prudence, I don't want us to just go to maybe starting from the end and then coming to the beginning. Yes, I know our topic is avoiding addiction. But what are some of the reasons that people get addicted?
Okay, so for one, I would like to start from what I perceive as addiction. It's that you can't let go of a certain pleasure. That's the way addiction. I see addiction. So what are the reasons why somebody can get into addiction? So for instance, food addiction. You begin to start eating and you're enjoying the sensation of food. Like everybody enjoys eating. So you're enjoying the sensation of food and you continue eating and eating and eating, and then you just can't stop. You continue to eat. Even when it is becoming detrimental to your health, you still want to continue to eat. No, not want to continue. You still continue to eat. You can't stop doing that. Then you're addicted to food. Series addiction. A whole lot of us watch series. Like it's a pastime. Everybody will just sit down. Let's just watch movies and enjoy ourselves. And then you watch a series. You have insomnia. You don't sleep. You wake up in the morning. You don't want to do anything tangible. You just want to continue watching your series. That's series addiction. If I continue to do it, we're not going to end, because it just keeps there a whole lot. There's pornography addiction, there's sex addiction, and all that. There are a whole lot. So as I said earlier, it's about not wanting to let go of a certain pleasure or joy that you get from some things that you're into. So what causes that? One is that it's depression. Depression could cause an addiction. You're depressed, so you're trying to look for a channel that would push away the depression. You're looking for a channel that you're just looking for an alternative, and then you begin to get your hands into some things, and gradually it becomes your new normal.
Like, I totally agree with you, because some people will just think that it's just people that are into drugs and alcohol that are struggling with addictions. Like you defined it, it's just a pleasure that you find difficult to let go of it. There are people that are just addicted to like a particular soft drink. No matter how hard, like you try to convince them about the effects, the detriments, like even when they say I won't take this again, the next second you find them taking it. So they can't just do away. They found some satisfaction in that thing, and they just can't do away with it. And it's really detrimental. From the beginning, I said it's a disease. That means it affects you. If you're just so addicted to something that you cannot let go of it, it becomes a problem. There are people that, okay, for them, they will tell you the reason is trauma, emotional pain. Like these are some of the reasons why they are so addicted to certain substance or a particular attitude. There are people that are addicted to certain attitude as well. Yes, they can't let go of it, even if it's a bad attitude that is so glaring, but they are just so addicted to it. Do you know there are people that for no reason they will be hissing? Like they just find pleasure in that.
And sometimes it even comes subconsciously. You just feel the urge, you just do. And you don't even know that where you are, the environment, you're not even considering the environment you are, who is around you. You just end up doing it, and it's because it has already become part of you to an extent. But something like that is actually detachable. You can remove it because you grew it. You can outgrow it as well. That's one thing about addiction, though. You can outgrow it regardless. And you mentioned that causes of addiction. You also said that some people is like trauma, and for others, as I said earlier on, is like an alternative route. So for others, it's just the pleasure. I don't know how to explain this. You just enjoy your life so much that every other person's ideas don't just matter. Sometimes it's just like that. So you get addicted to certain things, and you don't want to stop doing it. And then for others, it could be rebelling. They want to rebel against something. There's something you don't want to do, so you begin a certain character as a form of rebellion, and it becomes tragic at the end of the day. So there are a whole lot of reasons why somebody can get into addiction. But the thing is, the first step you have taken to do it, are you conscious of the effort of what you're doing? And then when do you begin to become not conscious and let your emotions rule that thing that you're doing?
You know, for most people, like talking about now addiction to alcohol and drugs, it's out of curiosity. They want to just explore. Like every other person around them, every other young person is doing this, and there's a way they act like they are not scared, they are not worthy, because these are things they tell you. When you do this, and so they start abusing these substances. They are just curious. They just want to just know, like, because people tell you, if you take this is how it, and then like take it. So out of curiosity they do it. And for some people that they give you excuses such as trauma or some kind of emotional pain. They will tell you that, well, each time they are just alone, they keep thinking of maybe a past incident that happened that affected them. It could be even loss of loved one. It could be maybe some kind of bad breaks that happens to them, losing job, like divorce, your partner leaving you, and all of that. And then, or maybe they got married wrongly, and then the other partner is becoming a problem to them, and they think the best thing to do is just to resort to abusing substances, even getting addicted to it. They can't even stay for a second without taking, because they will tell you, I want my mind to be out of this situation. And you see, they find themselves abusing drugs and then alcohol. But often I ask myself this question. So what happens when you wake up? Like, will it change the situation? It won't change it. So a lady sang a song. She said, I've been drinking alcohol for the past 5 days. Nobody checked on me. Did you care for me? She said, I've been smoking all night. And did you care for me? Did you check? My eyes are red and all of that. Some people will tell you because nobody care about them. Like, the best thing what they can keep themselves company with is drug, alcohol, getting, and all of that. So we kept talking on this platform about the fact that you need to come to realization of who you are, knowing God, knowing your place in Him, knowing your assignment here on earth. If you come to that understanding, then you won't see your peace in any substance. And it will be easier for you to let go of anything. You are addicted to certain things and you want to leave it. But you think some people say, I want to leave, but I cannot. You can do it. Like, that's the message today. Whatever you are addicted to, like, you need to know that you can you can let go of that particular addiction. Don't be deceived that I can't. Like, I find joy. There's no joy outside Christ. So whatever you're going to get, the satisfaction from the pleasure is just temporary. The situation will still remain there. So these things, like we talked about, just find it difficult to let go of pleasure. We've talked about the causes and what is the effect of this addiction. There are people that can't let go of certain things, and whether we like it or not, these things have effect.
They do.
Let's talk about the effect.
Yeah, they do. But before we talk about the effect, the world is setting a standard for herself. And then the Bible told us that we don't belong here. And then thank God for the theme of the year of EQUA that says, occupy till I come. Occupying till Jesus come, it means that you have assignment. And in this assignment, it depends on what God put in your hand. That's why, He gave some people 5, 3, 1, and said, turn it.
That's true.
What's your talent? You mentioned something about us here in this program talking about knowing who you are. If you know who you are, you identify your talent. The reason is for you to make where you are a better place. Is that thing that you are doing as a Christian making your environment comfortable for even the believers around you? Talk more of the unbelievers. You have to ask yourself that. And in that thing that you are doing, are you finding fulfillment in Christianity? That's not fulfillment generally because I'm doing a job, I'm being paid well, I can take care of my bills and the rest. That's where some people find their fulfillment. But in our own case, yes, you need the money to do other things. But do you find fulfillment in that thing that you are doing, like based on your calling as a Christian? Because you are called to influence the world positively. Now the world is setting a standard. The world is telling you, when you take alcohol, this is how you feel. You feel good. Some of these substances, it's even difficult for you to swallow them. It's even difficult. That's why some of them you can't even take it like orally. Yes, some of them you can't take it orally. You have to inject yourself. That's the level. Because if you take it orally, they even know, those that take it, they know if they take it orally, they will die. And because they don't want to die, they follow the normal whatever. So they know the implication already. If not, if you know that, yes, this thing will make you, then you can take it anyhow. But even at that, they follow the procedure. Now, don't forget, the world now is about money, fame, sex. So you get the money and you find pleasure in whatever you want to take, or the people around that you feel you can gather that the money can pay. And that's just the way. So they make you feel this is how the normal pattern of the world is. If you are outside that, then you are not where, you are not anywhere. So that psychological pressure that comes from the world, makes people to compromise. And that's when you begin to think of issue of cutting corners to meet up. And we talk about how people will steal, would embezzle, will do all sorts of things, rituals and the rest, simply because the world have set one standard that everybody want to reach and feel comfortable there. And then don't forget, these substances that we are talking about, some people are producing them, they are selling them, and they are making money. And because they make money that way, they spend the money extravagantly because of the way the money came. And some people don't even know how the money comes, and then they feel this is a life to adopt. And if you are not, let's say your standard of income is not that whatever, then that's when you will begin to see people going outside their way, the issue of smartness playing around, and then people going extra way to get. Do you know that somebody was telling me that there's this particular drug that is just like this vitamin C, the small one, that you would divide it into 4. That's just one piece of it, like into 4. One piece is 10,000 naira. It's 10,000, and you just burn it and that's all. And then you take one. Some people will go up to like taking 10. And someone is telling me that on just a sip, with that sip, if you do 10, and you said you are going like 20 times, that's 10 times 20, just a sitting. Maybe he just started at that time. So you can imagine, he just want to get to a particular level. So what about his income? But some people are producing it, and they are telling you that's the way to go. If your standard is not there, it's ruining you. You are going bankrupt. The more your income is going down, the more depression is setting in. You begin to feel like people don't care about you. And then still yet you are killing yourself, but somebody is extremely making money out of it. So we have to be conscious that the way and the pattern of the world leads to destruction. Once you go there, yes, you can get the money, you can be in wealth, but at the end of the day, the end of it is destruction if you don't have Christ. And if that's the way you go, you produce things to destroy life of people that God creates in his own image, the end is destruction. So for some that are not like the ones in area, you look at their life, and even the ones that are wealthy, if you see some of them that are in that trap of addiction of drug, you will pity them. They have the money, they have everything, but if you are able to see them in that moment of their struggle, when that thing is off them, you will pity them, because you will just see them living in pain, like they are just half dead, and some of them is out of pity that some people continue the drug for them, just so that they will just normalize and get out of that pain. That is if you don't even take it and the system needs it. So how can you subject yourself to such kind of pain? You understand? I just feel it is very important for people to know that the end of it is destruction. ultimately is destruction. Because anything that is outside God's original plan is a sin, and it leads to destruction. It's only Christ that is the only way, the truth, and the life, and he's the only one that will save you. If you think this is the, because Jesus didn't promise us like what the world is promising us, mansion here and there, all this kind of life. You may have the money, but you don't have a piece of God in you. That's useless. That's why some people, you see them, they are just average, but the way they live their life, they live it in full. Why? Because they know who they are and they know who is in charge in them. So that's just where I think we should narrow our mind and know that it is very important to know Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. And it's important the people you keep around you. Who are the kind of people you keep around you? Because I was listening to somebody, we were discussing. He said, if you offend him and he know he can get to you, he think even if he had a way to go to Babalao, native doctor, that's it, native doctor, to harm you, he prefer him investing his life in your life by introducing some certain kind of life, particularly drug, that when you are in, then he allow you and then he watch you die like that. I was like, wow. He said yes. That's his project. So I begin to imagine. He said that's how, if you offend him, he find a way of coming through your life and he introduce you to all this kind of substance and he watch you.
Like the Bible says, the heart of man is desperately wicked, and indeed, like, let me tell you something, there's no freedom outside of Christ, and there's great freedom in Christ.
Sure.
It comes with him giving himself for you. Like, imagine that instead of you dying, God gave his one and only son so that we may live. When you are in Christ, you have peace. The Bible in Galatians 5 talked about the fruit of the Spirit, one of which is self-control. If you are living in addiction, you've lost your right to self-control. Because at that moment, any pleasure you refuse to let go of, that thing is controlling you.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, you're talking about the consequences, and that this is one of the most, you have no control of yourself anymore. You don't have self-control. You can't control your emotions. You can't control your reactions, your inactions, your actions. You don't have control of them anymore because you've already allowed something else to take the place of your self-control. And that's what addiction literally does to you. And the repercussions of addiction, some of which Mr. Solomon has already mentioned, you find yourself depressed. Earlier on, I mentioned that some addictions come as a result of depression.
Yeah.
That's true. But also, some depressions come from addictions. Why do I say so? Because you are addicted to something and you're displeased with yourself that you keep on doing it. And you can't find a way to stop doing it. So you begin to feel bitter, dirty. You don't feel
rejected.
You just feel like yourself, you're disappointed in your own self.
Not worthy.
And so you become depressed over it. Yeah, not worthy. That's very true. And then subsequently it continues to grow. It's either your addiction goes to a deeper level or you resort to the only other option apart from Christ, which is suicide. So you see the reason why we have high rates of suicide in Nigeria, in the world right now. And then there's another thing that happens, OD, overdose. You hear a lot of celebrities in our day-to-day. You just hear this person 28 years old, 24 years old, 20-year-old, 22 years. And you hear this person OD'd, this person died as a result of drugs. This person, you just keep on hearing this person OD'd, this person OD'd. So going back to self-control, you don't have control over yourself anymore. And then you want to just keep on satisfying that urge. So you do it to an extreme, and it's an overdose.
And whenever you
find
don't
your
even
cups.
take, like for those people that are addicted to drugs, whenever they don't take, they feel they are not themselves.
you're
I
not
recalled a drama I played by one drama group from Nasarawa here in Jos during the talent show. And then the lady that was already addicted to drugs, like there were some kind of moves that she was making. Like obviously she has lost control over herself and even her action because of how she has been addicted to drugs. And she was like, she was telling the doctor, please, like all she need at that point is the drug for her to feel okay. But as far as she doesn't take the drug, she's just acting like. So you don't want to get that to that point where you don't have control over yourself.
Yes,
The
and
Bible
for that
says,
kind of person, you might probably, sorry to cut you short on
you have
that.
been cutting me since.
I'm sorry. That was really not intentional.
This is the reason why today you are humble.
I've been humble because Prudence have been cutting me since.
It's really not intentional.
So when I'm talking, I'm expecting that Prudence will cut me. So no problem. Go ahead.
It's not intentional. But I just wanted to say that for that kind of person, that's why it's usually advised that you take clinical help, because at that moment you need somebody else to help you control yourself. You don't want to get to that point because it's terrible. I've seen one and
it deprives you of so much. For example, now you're into drugs and alcohol. One thing that it makes them do is that they avoid family and friends. Like families and friends that are responsible. Now, the only people you feel that are family are those people that also are into the drugs or alcohol. That's the only place you find peace. And that way you deprive yourself from the joy of being amidst family members. Just when people are eating, they are talking, you sneak into the house, you sneak out of the house. It is not you, and that's not God's intention for you. It is the addiction to that substance that is making you do that. So like we said, it's not just drugs and alcohol. So many people are addicted to, in fact, even the soft drinks. You think at least I'm not addicted to alcohol or certain drugs. It's just I don't want to advertise certain companies, but it's just mineral, it's just soft drink now. So but it's wrong. Have you started to think of the detriment of doing that? Some of these things are like, they are detrimental to your health. Prudence talked about food. You eat and eat and eat until you become the glutton of our time. You are okay, but because you are addicted to that particular meal, you keep eating it. It's a sin. It's a sin. And for drugs, for example, you even get to the point that you have a child that is coughing and they bought coffee for the child, or drug, you go and take it and they fill the container with water. Like, it's wrong. No, people do that.
No, I just remember you saying that the heart of man is desperately evil, and that what just happened? Because this is your kid.
And some people even go to the point of lying. You go to a pharmacy and lie that you have this sickness and that sickness. All you want to do is just to have access to those controlled drugs so that you go back and take them. Like, I'm wondering, imagine, for instance, most of these drugs for cough and catarrh, they're just there. Like they cause dizziness and all of that, and then somebody wants to go and take it, so that, like, you want to take drugs so that you be dizzy. Like, that's the satisfaction that you want from that thing. Like, it's not that so that you have money or you have so that you be dizzy. Like, you spend money.
You know, God created us to act normal and to act right. And anything that you take to make you act normal, you know, is evil. Yes, because you are created, you know, okay, you are fine. How would you think of you buying something to take that will make you dizzy, to make you abnormal? Then something is wrong. And you see, anything that you take for you to act otherwise, then already before you take that thing, you know that it's wrong.
It's wrong. Because
some people that's why some people would tell themselves that in Hausa will be sweeter.
Okay, go ahead, I'll interpret.
Barin Jane Shama one gear.
Let me go and drink for him or her alcohol.
Yes, so put any name.
Okay.
Like, for instance, Prudence, now I have issue with her. But then just shama again though.
Okay. Let me go and take alcohol for Prudence and come back. Like,
Yes.
so it means there's an issue with Prudence, and for me, I don't want to talk about it. I need some kind of influence on me before I'll be able to address the issue. And a lot of people do that.
Yes.
Like when there's an issue on ground, or even a challenge or a problem, they don't want to use their normal sense to address
Let's
the issue.
talk it like
They want to go and take certain drugs, alcohol, before they will come back and address the issue. You want to talk out of your normal senses. Like for them, that's the right thing to do. And it's terrible.
Yes.
We are talking about this topic, avoiding it because of the implication. I recall you said earlier, like the ultimate prize at the end is destruction.
Is destruction.
Of addiction.
That's also
is
true.
destruction.
Yes.
So whether you're addicted to certain group of people, whether you're addicted and negative especially, whether food, imagine you kept eating even when you are satisfied.
I don't think there's any addiction that is positive.
You get. So yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So if you are addicted to whatever, just know that at the end of the day, the ultimate price you're going to pay is destruction. Today we've seen people
Some
on
are
the street.
addicted to lies.
Yes,
Like you said, it can just be a character.
it can be a character.
Some when they don't lie, it's like
It's not
something
normal.
is wrong.
In fact, they lie even when there's no reason to lie.
That's what I'm saying.
Imagine you went to ease yourself, like you were actually pregnant, just went to ease yourself, and somebody, I was looking for you, I didn't see you in the office, and you said, I just went to ease myself. You just say, I've been around now. Me, since I've been, you didn't have to lie. You don't have to, but you lie. So some people are so addicted to lying that if they don't lie in a day, or if they don't lie up to 100 times in a day, they don't feel satisfied. Yes. The end of every addiction is destruction. Whatever pleasure that you can't do away with, just know that at the end of the day, it will destroy you. Some people are so addicted to material things and trends. Whatever comes out, you want to be part of it. Not style. You are not thinking of creating your own style. That is just people can even use that to identify your own is whatever is trending. You want to be there. So it means that all your attention will just be geared towards those, like towards trend. The end is destruction. We've talked about BlackBerry several times here. When it came out, people were so crazy confused about BlackBerry. Today, where is it? Nowhere to be found. Whatever you are addicted to, you cannot swallow this wall. It's the wall that will end up swallowing you if you're not careful. So lose out from that addiction. Avoiding addiction. Let's go back now. We've talked about addiction and then some of the effects. The effects and the ultimate price is destruction. How can we avoid addiction? Knowing well that it is a disease, knowing well that it's some sort of pleasure that some people find difficult to just do away with. That's after being addicted to whatsoever. But now, how can I avoid being addicted? I was in some time ago while I was in school, like I had this friend. I don't know if I should say friend or acquaintance, maybe better said as acquaintance. And when we got talking, her house was, because her admission came late and she needed someone to help her with notes and to put her through registration, all of that. And I was assisting her with that. So her house was not far from the school. And then she kept telling me about herself. She was so open and truthful. This is who she is. And then her lifestyle, like she talked about it. She smokes. She takes all manner of things. And then her house was not far from the school. So sometimes she'll be like, since this lecture is not holding, can we just go to my house? And then one of the day I followed her to the house. There were some guys in the house, and then she prepared noodles. And they used weed to prepare the noodles, and then all the guys are just eating. And she told me, Joyce, I put this inside this thing. I said, no, I'm not eating. She said that's why she told me, because she understands that I don't. And like, she was so open. She said everything. So I tried to talk to her about some of the things that I felt she needed help. Very young, beautiful lady. But it seems the relationship she has built with other people that do seem like it's so strong. And for me, if like from what she eats to whatever she drinks, they put some substance inside. I don't want, whether I like it or not, if I continue in that relationship, I might find myself like, there might be a time that I'll be so tested and I'll just take now, nothing will happen. You take and you start feeling, oh, the feeling is nice. Tomorrow I'll say, oh, please give me that. What I did was to just cut out from. It doesn't mean that I don't talk to her, or but the rate at which the closeness, the time I spent with her became less, because I knew that, well, if I'm not careful, that's the ultimate price that I might have to pay. So I had to just withdraw. For me, that was how I prevented, like I avoided addiction. So for some people, again, it can be self-care. You have already come to the knowledge of who you are and what you want to be, and your calling and your purpose. And for that reason, even when forces are coming, you've seen people that have been affected by addiction. For example, when you go to the street, you see some people that are already like they are mad. And for some of these people, it is because of addiction. So you have seen that, and you don't want to end in that part. You don't want to tour that part. And you just decide to develop that self-care, that no matter what comes your way, you won't do that. For others, it's the relationship they keep. So once, like myself now with that young lady, she was like, we were acquaintance. And if we continued, yes, we will become friends, and it becomes a relationship. So for some people, they avoid any relationship that will lead to addiction. They are so mindful of the kind of people they keep. We talked about circle on this show. Who are your circles? They said if you have 4 people as your friends that drink, you'll be the 5th person drink alcohol, not water. If you have 5 friends that, 4 friends that smoke, you'll be the 5th smoker, and all of that. So don't say I will change them. Me, I know I will change them. You can talk to them about it and all of that. But as long as there's that closeness and continuous closeness, it might lead you to that. So some people watch the kind of relationship they keep just to prevent like being addicted to any substance or alcohol. And for some parents, recall that from the beginning I said, as a parent, how would you help? Because you are in a society where it has become like addiction has become a menace, like everybody is involved in it. But you have children that are still growing, and you're scared for your children. You don't want your children to tear that part. Now, for some parents, they start like advising their children, teaching their children from tender age about this addiction and the implication. The children will grow.
I think that was what my mom did. I'm sorry to cut you again. But my mom did something similar. So when I was younger, I loved to read. So she checks the books I read. So for one, because even reading can be an addiction. See, this one is out of, you never know that you're reading and somebody's talking to you. You don't even know that the person is talking to you. You're just lost in your own world. Yeah, so it happens. And my mom had to start like watching what I read this, read that. And then she kept on giving me books that would tell me, see, if you go this way, for instance, drugs. She kept on giving me books that were written about stories of people who had this kind of ending because they dealt with drugs, this kind of ending because they dealt with certain things. And then it went on while growing up. Before I went to secondary school or even the university to open my eyes to things like that, I had already implanted in my head through the books and all the other things that my mom had already started out telling me. They had already wrong in my head that these things are wrong, don't do it. So anytime I find myself around people that are doing something like that, or rather, I had to create a character that will not attract somebody that's doing things like that. So when somebody comes and tells me, oh, you know this guy in our department, I'm like, oh yes, I know the person from a distance. Like, so I heard that this person is doing drugs and doing blah, 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 blah. In fact, I met him the other day and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't even have a relationship with him in the first place. So such, like, I'm taking 2 ways. I'm saying what you were talking about, how you need to keep your circle of friends tight towards people who have the same moral values as have been inculcated in you from childhood. So for instance, you haven't had that one, the childhood morals, and you're at the point that you think that this is not right, this is not moral. It is important that you keep yourself around people who are not involved in things like that, because the moment you allow yourself to be around people that are involved with things like that, it's easy for it to creep in. I mentioned it earlier on, the other day on another episode, that a whole lot of things that you end up seeing yourself do is things that you observe, things that you watch people do, things that you never thought you would do, but because you're around the people that are doing, you end up doing it. When I was giving illustration of how I began to act like the people around Lagos environment and all that. So that's this kind of things creep in slowly, gradually. You begin, like you said, when you go in, you meet a group of friends and you say, oh, let's just sip a drink, and then you decide to try it the first day. Oh no, let's not say the first day. Maybe you've been around them a whole year, you've not tried it. The pressure begins to build.
Become curious.
Yes. So the thing is that you need to be conscious of all that and make sure that you're not.
And you're building more trust to people that. So once they say do this, you just find it. Well, he's saying at least I've trusted him. I know you, and then you are there. Before you know, you are overtaken.
It is also important that you keep yourself engaged with healthy activities.
True.
So you know that. And this works too for those who are already addicted and you want to go out of it. You make sure that whatever you're doing is healthy. You move away from the friends that are into this kind of things.
The Bible says
you begin to fill in the gap of those things. You fill it in with healthy activities. You can go just walking. So walking is good too. Just take a walk around, or have group meeting with people that are morally sound, that can help you. Things like that. It's important that you surround. That's where I'm standing now more. Where I'm leaning towards more is it's important that you surround yourself with people that are healthy as well, like morally healthy, biblically healthy. That's key.
First Corinthians chapter 15 verse 33 says, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good morals. Do not be deceived. And then James chapter 4 verse 7 says, submit yourself then to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. So you just have to be deliberate about all of these things. Like she rightly said, yes, you have to keep upright people around you. That will influence you. That will influence you, because that's the other side, the opposite of what the Bible is saying. If he said bad company corrupt good morals, then you keep good companies. That means they would uplift you. They will make you better. So it is very important to know the people around you. Like you said, parents have work to do, because you have to start. All of this and start from the family setting, because you have to tell. Even though yes, when they are out there, you don't know what exactly they can what they will meet out there, because they are going to the world to explore. Like you said, you know certain things before even going to the university, and that helps you. So, but nowadays the devil have taken over the parent. Now they make you very busy, that at the end of the day you come home and you don't know what you are busy about, and then you leave the children at the mercy of teachers, you know. And then before you know it, you know, now with the issue of internet and the rest, the children are Googling left, right, and center, knowing all sort of things, and then you are just there. You don't know what the children are doing, And before you know it, they come up with a strange behaviors that it will even surprise you as parent. And then sometimes you begin to say certain words, you know, cursing your children, sending all kind of negative words to them, and it affects them. And before they get themselves, already the damage has been done. So we have to watch this. But the standard is the Word of God. Let's go back to the Word of God. Teach them this is what the Bible says concerning you. And this is what the world will give you. So if they give you this, counter it with this. That will help you. And before you know it, they grow with it. And they go outside there. And they will be able to balance the life out there. And before you see it, you know, God on your side, and He's always on our side. He said, you know, no any temptation that will come that is above us. You know, He will always give us something. He will always create a way for us to navigate all those things.
Prudence wanted to cut you soon,
Yeah,
but let me
I
help her.
wanted
Let me just help her.
I didn't want
Okay,
to.
you have to help her.
Yeah, I've cut, so continue.
I think she has
been struggling.
planned today.
Well, Prudence, it's me that you Reina in Hausa.
No.
She has been trying to cut you since, but she's waiting for you to land. But me, she just say, Joy, shut up.
Oh no.
I've helped you. Oh yeah, continue.
So I apologize for putting you.
No, apologies later. Continue.
But then what I wanted to say is that it was just what building on what he was saying, and it's that John 15 verse 4 and 5 actually says that remain in me and I remain in you, for no branch can bear fruits by itself. So you want to avoid addiction, so be addicted to God.
Wow, that's a powerful one. Be addicted to God. Some people say, God is my addiction. Or like, so whatever they do, He's at the center stage. Some people say, don't even bring Jesus talk here or leave it aside. No, don't never leave it aside. In everything you do, He should be the center stage. Let Him lead.
Don't
You're
do
cutting me again. Let Him lead. This time around, I'll fight you. You're already addicted to cutting me. Like, the ultimate goal is heaven.
Yes,
So
yes.
if the goal is heaven, let Christ lead while we follow. Let's ensure we imbibe Christ-like attitude. Always ask yourself, at that point of addiction, what will Jesus do? If He's in your shoe, will He do that? Will He be addicted to that substance that you're addicted to? If no, then leave it. There are people that will give so many reasons to justify their addiction. Like, your body needs this, your body needs that, and all of that. You don't need to justify it. You know, for you to start looking for reasons to justify it is wrong.
You know it's wrong.
It's wrong. So do away with it. I think one of the ways we can help in avoiding addiction is education. It is very key. Let's educate the young ones about the danger, the effect of whatever they are addicted or whatever people are being addicted to. When we keep educating people, I think it's going to give them that sense of, Kai, I'm not supposed to do this, and all of that, and they will withdraw from that behavior. Even when anybody tries to introduce it to their lives at any point in time, they will say no, knowing well that this is the danger, this is the effect, and all. And we can also help by teaching healthy coping skills. Now, you want to leave, for those that are already addicted that want to leave, they are struggling to leave, it's important that you know that you need to replace that attitude with something else. Because the Bible says an idle man is the devil's workshop. If you are idle, anything can come and you key into it. But when you have healthy coping skills, it's going to help you. And it can include talking to somebody you trust, talking to a therapist. It can include praying and meditation. And God will help you through. It can be you setting time aside to care for yourself, like eating healthy, coming up with your creative ideas, drawing, painting, singing. Like, just come up with something that is helpful. Replace it. Don't say, I want to quit, and you just quit and sit down. You find yourself going back. So replace the time you spend addicted to whatever substance with creativity. Fine arts, meditation, prayers, it will help a lot. And I think we can also get involved in something we care about. Where lies your passion? Is it in music? Is it in carpentry? Is it in tailoring? Is it in braiding? Where lies your passion? I think you can utilize that. Stay close to your family and friends. The moment you start dodging your family and your responsible friends, then something is wrong. Something is wrong. So when you stay close to family and those responsible friends, they care about you and they won't want, I said responsible friends, so because they care about you, they won't want to see you just end in destruction. So even when they sense a negative attitude, they will help, they will talk to you about it and they will help you out of it. Like we've been emphasizing, practice self-care. And if you're already addicted, I think it's possible for you to know that there's help. There's help. We have therapists, we have counselors, our pastors are there and to help us out of it, to guide us. So even if you're already addicted, just know that you can always get help. That's not the end of life. Jesus paid the price for you, so you can start all over again. That you fall doesn't mean that you should remain on the ground. We fall, we rise up again. So just before we go, just a final word from you. But if you don't have, I can just close the show.
I think you can close the show for me.
Wow. After successfully cutting off throughout the show. Fine. Sample Solomon.
Today the show is hers. So I say today the show is hers. So just close the show.
Okay. So our viewers out there, thank you for joining us on today's edition of Today's Live. Like, we're so glad that you did this with us. And for those that liked, followed on Facebook and YouTube, we're really grateful. Know that God loves you. He cares for you. His intention is for you to grow and blossom in Him. Identify purpose and live in accordance to it. Go out there and be kind to one another until you come your way next time, same station. Be kind to one another. Bye-bye.